Hello, everybody. Web Midland, Texas. Interesting story today. What I want to talk about is how famous this area is for prostitution, and they made a movie out of it. Probably one of the most famous prostitution busts in the country was over in Odessa, Texas, and a lot of powerful, important people were arrested back in 2004. And here's part of the trailer for that movie called The Client List.
Unless we receive payment, foreclosure proceedings will begin.
Oh, baby, how did we get ourselves into such an awful mess?
All right, bye-bye. Well, hi there.
Hi, my name is Samantha Horton. I called about the massage therapy interview. I'm just desperate for a job. I'm trained in shiatsu and deep tissue, but I can pretty much do any kind of massage I want.
It's a teensy bit more than that.
What do you mean?
Well, like my writing teacher always says, why don't you show me, not tell me?
When you realize there's a way to make it all go away. That's what I made today.
Holy sugar.
I'm not proud of it. It's amazing what you're capable of saying yes to.
How could you have done all those things with those men?
Rex, please just look at me.
I can't look at you, Sam.
How am I gonna fix this?
And so that was the movie. Now what I'm going to do here, here's Wikipedia, on the client list. You can look that up yourself. It's a television film, premiered on Lifetime, July 19, 2010, starred Jennifer Love Hewitt, and it was a fictionalized dramatization of the 2004 prostitution scandal in Odessa, Texas, okay? And includes Sam Horton, a mother of three who becomes a prostitute to meet her financial obligations. And so I think you're going to find this super interesting. This is the Odessa American online. You can Google this, and I did, and that's how I found it. And 61 arrested in Healing Touch case dated June 28, 2004. Okay, 61 residents, including prominent attorneys, business owners, and a senior editor for the Odessa American, slogged through the park, for this year-long prostitution bust. Okay, and okay. It says, among those charged is attorney and community volunteer Scott Tidwell, former deputy district attorney Lee Hadden. Others charged, let's see, there was people from out of town, Lamisa, Monahan, Robert Lee, Seminole, Andrews, and then a man from Artesia, what I thought was interesting, because the woman on the phone told me about the underground facilities was connected to a person from what I suspect to be Artesia, a town close to Hobbs, starts with an A. Gene Powell, assistant managing editor of the Odessa American, was arrested. And you know how many times I've contacted the press about the crimes against me. Also arrested prominent rancher James Buzz Ratliff Hurth, Vince Vines, owner of Odessa Insurance Company, Sidney Ingram, owner of M&M Elevator and Oilfield Company. Okay, school board member Thomas Lee Salmon. Okay, and that's just in that one article. This article here, it's dated July 28, 2004, and it has the complete list of everybody that was arrested, all 60 some of them. And, and I really wonder how many of these people know about the underground facilities here, because I believe the same thing going on underground. This is what was going on. Organized prostitution is what I believe it was. And you can see that there's a lot of people, and that's what it is. What the ex-wife told me, you don't know how many lives you run with your idiocy. And that was because I crawled out and survived a murder attempt. One reason I thought about this on this list is because one of the people arrested here was Joe Lozano. Joe Lozano was the recent candidate for sheriff that told me our former sheriff, Gary Painter, used to, he called it, the underground facilities was Painter's hideout. That Painter used to hide out in these underground homes, $1 million underground homes, okay? And so one of the questions, well, I wonder how Joe Lozano might know about these underground homes and even know that the former sheriff, Gary Painter, the late Gary Painter, used to hang out down there. And so that's where the connection is back there with Joe Lozano and back to this famous Odessa prostitution bust. Like I say, one of the most famous country. This is from the Texas Monthly. In January 2005, she had brains, a body, and the ability to make men love her. How a 22-year-old former cheerleader discovered prostitution helped put 68 high-profile Johns in handcuffs and brought Odessa to its knees. And that was an actual picture, I believe. It says right here, Lexus photographed at the former home of the Healing Touch Massage Parlor on October 10th, 2004. Okay. Now moving on, just Googling, this is in 2011. 2 Odessa massage parlor workers arrested for prostitution. This isn't the Healing Hands bust in 2004. This is 7 years later. Okay, so there's another bust. And let's go to another one. Odessa police raid massage parlor for suspicion of prostitution. This one came in 2016. Are you starting to see a pattern with massage parlors and organized prostitution? I hope so. Prostitution arrest. This isn't about a massage parlor here in Midland, and this one was dated at 62 people. It was dated in 2018, and that's here in Midland, Texas. Okay. Once again, I wonder how many of these people that's involved in this, are have some connection or knowledge of the underground facilities believed to be connected with multiple murders and et cetera, sex trafficking. So, and then another news story. This one is CBS 7. Police Andrews woman arrested in connection to alleged prostitution operation, and that one's dated in 2019. Okay, and so I just wanted to show you that's here in this area. Okay, now the year before I shot, I got this message on my answering machine. Okay.
Message 1, Sunday, 9:20 a.m. Hi, Miss Gibson. This is Norma Perez. I own a salon, and I spoke to the lady at the massage place down the way, and I'm really interested in leasing a spot from you. Would you please call me back? My number is 934-3979.
Now, keep in mind, that was on my home. I was at work and that call come in. And so that's one thing I kept it because I wondered if that was what was going underground in the underground homes that are near here. Okay. And I'm going to just show you real quickly, not to go over all the evidence, but what I believe was happening. In 2010, my friend told me about a young girl that was murdered at a party going on during the Permian Basin International Oil Show. It's a major convention with these famous parties are put on by wealthy oil men, prostitution, drugs, etc. Everybody in this part of the country's heard about them all our life, and it's not uncommon to have prostitution during conventions, and that's what it is. And we're talking extremely wealthy people in the oil field. Well, she was leaving my house here, and this is my house down here on 3802 Fair Circle, and I'm showing where I was shot by somebody under my home had shot me here in 2012. But she was leaving my house here and driving somewhere, and in 5 minutes she was at the location of where the party was. And I know that because I was talking to her on the phone, and I believe she drove to the front of the Home Depot parking lot and parked there. I think she went underground, and then they come back over via this tunnel, looks like it was cut out of the back of Home Depot going directly towards my house. And then my backyard looks like there's an underground home. I was told there was 4 3-bedroom underground homes, cost $1 million a piece. That's where it comes back to the person in Artesia, whatever, had a connection to them. And so there's a lot more information on that and reason that I suspect that's what was going on. But I won't even get into on this one. I'm just quickly hitting that. I want to show you this right here. This is a block map, and that's pretty much what we just looked at a minute ago. But here was a print screen I grabbed one day. Somebody commented this. That's so bizarre, but yeah, so I believe you. I had a lot of people here recently in the past week talking a lot about the underground tunnels here and discussing the underground. Word here in Midland is how there's a game room here that all the high officials go to and, bet money. And win money and whatever else it is they do down there. But I hear more and more people talking about it, okay? So what she's telling me here, how I took this, is it was an illegal casino and brothel, okay? And in after I shot in 2012, I went down to the FBI office here in Midland. I was talking to an agent named Dominic, and I'm telling him my story. That was one of my first visits up there. And I said, maybe it's an underground casino brothel. And he said, maybe. that's exactly how he said it too, you know. And I mean, that, just the way he said it indicated that I guessed correctly that these underground homes were illegal casinos, brothels. And that's what this said. And it was for high rollers, you know. So here we got the wealthy and the famous or whatever, the rich and powerful, and little secret underground deal. Okay, here's another print screen. Judy Chris, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I was told that it was front page news in newspapers when it was built. She's talking about the underground facilities. But they said it was salt vaults to store surplus oil. But if you talk to the teenagers that helped work on it, they said it was houses, underground houses. You might find it in the newspaper records in the late 70s. I remember a woman told me she worked on this project, cost $7.35 million, finished 1987. They called it safe houses, or what she called it. Okay. And many different proofs on that. Another woman told me, says, go to Google Maps, okay, and you just go to maps.google.com and look at my address, 3802 Fair Circle, Midland, Texas, and then you just switch between the map view and the satellite view. And what you see is, here's my home. In the backyard, there's a big old building, bunker, facility. But you switch over to the satellite view and ain't there, okay? You switch back over, there it is. But you switch over there, it ain't there. And you know why? Because it's underground. Because I believe that's one of them 4 underground homes, and I believe that's where the oil show parties were going on. I believe that's where that young girl was murdered out in 2010. And the remains of a young girl were found in 2013. You can go do that on your computer right now. And so I suspect she was murdered because she refused to prostitute. That's what my friend told me, okay? There's a Midland Crime Stoppers on it. I've been sending information. Sheriff Kleiner, he told me he was sending it to his investigative team. I figure arrests are going to be made soon, or there's some dirty cops covering up multiple murders, you know. I mean, there is no, you know, any other choices there. That's it, you know. And so, you know, and here's the Crime Stoppers I contacted him on. Unidentified human remains, discovered oil field location, determined to be a female, 14 to 21 years old, time of death. Here's homicide suspected in August 2013. And my friend told me about a young girl that was murdered at a party in 2010 within 5 minutes of my house, okay? And with all this other evidence, it's very clear it happened in them underground facilities, okay? This is another Facebook friend. I grabbed a print screen on this one. And Jessica says, I've been 2,000 of them oil field shows, and I tell you what, there's more than just that one girl was murdered or raped because she didn't do whatever they wanted her to do, you know. And so I grabbed that, you know, because I think that's important, you know. That ain't the only girl that was murdered, you know. Also, I want to go here. This is in a sworn testimony on the protective order hearing, okay? And then I'm being asked questions by the Midland District Attorney, Stacy Judd, Assistant District Attorney, and I'm telling her some conversations. It basically says, let's see. Now, previously, you said that you had suspected so-and-so of being a prostitute. Do you recall in December 2011 speaking to her about that? I said, yes, there was a few conversations, and we did, like I say, argue over this point several times. She come in one day and said, they pay you by the hour, the minute, or the day, and I just worked 2 days and I'm tired. You know, another conversation, and by the way, she's a nurse, so she isn't paid by the minute, you know. That was the point I was making when I testified, you know. And I said, and also, if you want to say I accused her of breath smelling like semen, you know. And then another conversation that she referenced in order of was, I want to know who the pimps, the tricks, and the drug dealers are. And she said, it's a family business. Now, that's not, you know, that's a matter of court transcripts, you know, a matter of court record. I testified under oath, and that is exactly what happened, you know. I mean, it was 100% truth. That's what I believe, that what's going on here is connected to, you know, a sex trafficking ring, prostitution ring. And you know, and I can say another story that, you know, a couple of weeks before I'm shot, and the ex-wife comes by here, and we're loading her stuff up in the truck or whatever, and I tell her, I said, I know about the tunnels, and I've already called the DEA. Of course, I didn't know the DEA wasn't going to look, and somebody was going to, you know, cut my phone lines and shoot me 2 weeks later, you know. And she thinks about what I said, you know, that I called the DEA, and I knew about the tunnels. And she looks me in the eye, and real slowly says, I'm not a part of a prostitution ring. I hadn't said anything about prostitution. You know, I said I knew about the tunnels. And then, you know, I think what she was really asking me is to keep me out of it. That's what she was really wanting to do. And she was telling me it was a prostitution ring that's connected to this, and that's what I believe. And I have a feeling the same people who busted in 2004, you're going to find some of them same players that are with the underground facility, okay? This is a recorded phone call.
How the buildings underground that he was talking about, it was not 1 million, it was actually 4, and they're actually homes.
That are underground?
Yes, there are 3 bedrooms homes. Even asked him, I asked him about the pizza parties. They said they're not called pizza parties, but I know what you're talking about.
Right, the pedophile parties.
Okay, and I played that many times before, but it's you know, a direct reference to the underground facility with a very specific details of how many bedrooms are there, how much they cost, you know. Okay, and here's another short clip with the sheriff candidate.
Tunnels and or underground facilities are near my home.
Joe Lozano.
I secretly
I'm talking to
a
him.
woman on the phone who told me there were 4 3-bedroom underground homes that are 25 foot deep, and each of them cost over $1 million. She told me they were having pedophile parties in these underground homes. This is posted to my YouTube channel, that phone call. Another woman told me that she worked on the underground project, which was finished in 1987 while Bush was vice president. The Bushes are from Midland and were in the oil field business. She said the total project cost was $7.35 million. I have a screenshot of her telling me this. A guy named Ricky Ronaldo tells me that he used to live in my home, and him and his brother used to go in the tunnels under it. I have a screenshot of him saying this. A woman named Rhonda Denman Rogers tells me that the underground facility is a half block away, and I also have a screenshot of this statement. She didn't say it was 1.5 blocks, so she knew exactly where it was at. A few months ago, a woman told me to go look at my address at 3802 Fair Circle on Google Maps, and I see a large facility in my backyard on the block map that can't be seen from above ground. Google historical maps shows what looks like a large tunnel ditch was cut coming from the back of Home Depot aimed directly at my home. Anybody can see this right now. Earlier this year, I found out there was a police report all along, but the names on it didn't match the names provided by the private investigator, nor did they match the timestamps on the cameras. 2 of the law enforcement officers seen, Naylor and Simpson, and that is Mike Naylor, late Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor, and Midland Canine Police Officer Jansen, both died within 2 months of each other, and their names were not found on this heavily falsified police report, except they were caught on camera and identified. All of their names are posted online. 5 police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were listed as being at or in my home, but they were not seen arriving on the front security cameras, and this told me they were under my home. It's suspected they were at an underground party, and very possibly one of them was the shooter, aka would-be killer, that shot me. Additional evidence was found showing that I had unknowingly trapped a burglar in my home on the same day. Not all things are known, but the facts are the facts. So we can be sure that tunnels and underground facilities are here, and we can be sure that I didn't shoot myself. It's not my word against their word. I have the security camera pictures, videos, police reports, medical records, ballistic evidence, screenshots, and recorded conversations posted online. Please take the time to watch these, and I'll be sure you're convinced this lawlessness has to stop. And I sent you links to 4 different videos that are fact-filled, just incredible videos that show the evidence, you know, because it's one thing to just tell a story, you know, but it's a whole other thing when I'm showing you, that the size of pellets are 2.5 times the size is different than the size of pellets that were in my gun, you know, or the fact that I had pictures of these police, and I took these pictures and I sent them to the mayor and the city council and to Sheriff Painter and to the chief of police, who was Robinson at the time, and nobody would identify them. That's what forced me to offer a reward, you know, and of course that,
buddy, you know, that was Painter's hideout thing. Okay, and the hell to
that was Painter's hideout thing. Okay, after I went and told him all all about the underground facilities. Painter was the longtime sheriff that died last year. And, you know, and then, you know, I come back and, as I said a minute ago, now how would Joe Lozano know that's where it's Painter's hideout thing, you know? But remember that Joe Lozano was one of them 62 that was busted in that famous prostitution bust in 2004. Okay. I went to Google here. This is going to be real interesting. I did a Google Maps. I just did a search for massage in Odessa, Texas, okay? Because we saw the pattern, right? You see a pattern between massage parlors and prostitution. Every one of them red dots right there is a massage parlor in Odessa, Texas, okay? I mean, you know, there's about as many massage parlors as there is gas stations, you know? That's just amazing. And I'm going to show you Midland, okay? And we're seeing the same thing in Midland. I'll back that off. Every red dot is a massage parlor in Midland, Texas. And so, I believe that the crimes against me, and actually I believe most of the major crimes here, probably most of the murders, are all connected to the same prostitution ring. And I'm not here pointing fingers or placing blame or, you know, saying, you know, trying to bring shame on anybody, because I know that little girl, she didn't want to prostitute and they murdered her. She didn't get a choice. And them girls that didn't choose to be a martyr and die, you know, they shouldn't be ridiculed for life because of some corrupt police that says you're going to do this or you're going to be murdered, you know. And so keep in mind, 5 police officers, Davis, Dickie, Chatwell, Angel, and Hell, were in or at my home, and they wasn't seen arriving on the camera like Naylor and Woodward was. And so all of them should be suspects for knowing something about these underground homes, along with Chandler and Rodriguez. There's some suspects we can talk to, and you know, and we can make Midland, Odessa a lot safer. This buddy, Midland, Texas.